I would now like to introduce CASJ's board president and founding member, Matt Glen. But before he comes up, please adjust your chairs and we will watch this short video.
Hello, thank you for coming tonight. Thank you, Kristen, for the introduction. Thank you to all who are joining us tonight and the countless others who have supported us with prayers, time, and talent. I am truly blessed to be able to address you all today because it means that good things are afoot. I believe we are all here for about the same reason, and I'll sum it up this way. My job as a parent is to get my children to heaven. That's it. Jesus offers this great reward. Jesus offers this great reward, and children can't fulfill that responsibility by themselves, so God appointed parents to lead them in their formation. I think we're also here today for another reason, and that is teenagers and young adults are leaving the faith. Some in college, but more and more in high school. We see it again and again. It happens to strong, faithful families, and it's devastating. Our job is to get our children to heaven. What are we going to do? This concern for our children drove Alicia and I to pray about how best to raise our children to know the love of Christ. Lockdown was a mixed blessing for us. It snapped us out of our routine of just following the same path, one foot after the other. We decided to homeschool our daughter, Catherine, to avoid disruptions of schools opening and closing. The program writing assessment required her to read a passage from the gospel and answer a handful of questions. It dawned on us that never before, in schools across 3 states, in 4 different communities, had one of our children read and written about the Bible in a literature or English class. Never. Faith, it seemed, was limited to religion class. If our faith was only ingrained in a single class, then faith too, like choosing art over music or cooking over coding, could be optional. There had to be a better way. About this same time, Archbishop Schnurr wrote a letter to the faithful stating, "If we are to be the church as Christ intends, we must understand that status quo can have no place in our vocabulary. We must prayerfully ask ourselves, what in God's plan must we do next?" Like G.K. Chesterton says, a dead thing can go with the stream, but only a living thing can go against it. We desired a different approach to education and formation, focused on the family's role in forming children that would integrate the faith throughout all subjects, reinforce the goals of the parents, and be centered on Christ. Alicia and I, we could solve this problem for our family with homeschooling or commuting to Cincinnati, but through prayer and discernment, we asked ourselves, why doesn't our community have this option? Well, now we do. Chesterton Academy of St. Joseph is a joyful classical high school rooted in the Catholic faith. Our mission is to help parents raise up a generation of joyful leaders and saints, educated in the classical tradition and the truths of the Catholic faith. We do this first by centering our school on Christ present in the Eucharist through daily Mass and complemented with frequent opportunities for confession. Our headmaster, Mr. Beckman, took up the challenge to ensure each day was centered on the Mass. We build on this Christ-centered mentality with faculty, staff, and board members who profess and sign an oath of fidelity to the magisterium. Real mentors who live their faith openly, struggle each day to grow in virtue, and who want to and will encourage the students in the faith. Additionally, as part of the Chesterton Schools Network, one of the many benefits we have is their curriculum. In use for over 15 years, academically rigorous, continually refined to integrate faith in each subject, to integrate faith and reason, to bring the children to experience and know the love of Christ. Faith is emphasized as a way of life not just a part of life. Faith is integral to all subjects, not just one subject. It's no longer something we can or have to trade off with other parts of life, like this subject or that. This curriculum leads students through the classical works of Western thought, braiding together history, literature, philosophy, and theology with a common theme each year, tying our faith with reason and weaving faith into every subject. We can see math as the language by which God defines the world, and the science as the language by which he explains it to us. Next, we do this through joyful classical education. What is classical education? I went to a public high school in Utah. I hadn't a clue. None, right? But I'll use this analogy. Maybe you remember New Coke. Pepsi was stealing the market share from Coca-Cola, so they made this new Coke, and it tastes different, and nobody liked it. And so what did Coca-Cola do? They made this thing that they called Classic Coke. And what was Classic Coke? It was the original. And a classical education is the original Western education. It's how the greatest minds of Western culture were educated for hundreds of years before it started diminishing in the 1900s with the advent of progressive education. Chesterton Academy goes back to the classics. A classical education teaches students how to think and how to learn. Using the Socratic method, the faculty lead discussions that help draw information out of the students and guide them in discussing and debating topics and their interpretations, but not arguing. There is also an emphasis on philosophy and logic to aid in these discussions and debates. The education focuses on the great books of Western tradition, dense works with enduring values that help inculcate virtues in our students, not just transmit information. This classical education braids the humanities together into themes to help prepare the students for life beyond our homes. Starting in the 9th grade with the longings of the pagans in the year of anticipation, progressing to the year of incarnation with early medieval works in the beginning of the New Testament in 10th grade. Next, the year of culmination, teaching the height of Christian theology and philosophy with works like Dante and Aquinas in 11th grade. Helping the children understand that God offers them life and he means to have them live it abundantly. Finally, as seniors, they study the modern world in the year of sending forth. Many of these writers and philosophers are as pagan as the Greeks, but this is the world they will enter when they leave our homes. As they leave our homes, they now have the tools to stand on their own 2 feet and face the challenges of this world. They can be in the world, but not of it. Finally, we do this with a family-first philosophy, recognizing that family is the building block of society and parents are the primary educators of their children. Chesterton Academy seeks to create an environment where parents' leadership, faith formation, and desires are reinforced. Faculty and staff are working to the same goal for our students as the parents, and that is heaven. Deference to parental leadership is reflected in a minimal use of technology. No one-to-one laptops, not introducing a new device into the family, allowing parents to choose technology according to their preference and unique family situation. The rigorous instruction made possible by the Socratic method allows Chesterton to limit homework to no more than 2 total hours each night across all subjects. And our schedule also gets the children back to the family early in the day. These are 2 concrete ways Chesterton Academy prioritizes the children being available to their families. Chesterton Academy also strives to support the family with affordable tuition, well below private school costs, and financial aid to help further. The Chesterton model allows us to do all this by providing a highly efficient educational structure that does more with less. So where are we headed? With this new, and in reality classic, model for education in hand and building on a blessed foundational year filled with many firsts, Chesterton Academy of St. Joseph will open for our 2nd year this August. We've retained almost all our faculty and look to have close to 25 students across 4 grades. Based on the interest we've received in the past from families, we project steady growth over the next several years, which is consistent with the experience of other schools in the Chesterton Schools Network across the country. We expect each new class to grow to 15 to 20 students by 2027. Our tuition this coming year is $7,750, continuing to be considerably more affordable than the local private schools. This tuition will only cover 40% of the cost to educate a student for 1 year. And in the words of Pope Benedict, provides a highly commendable opportunity for the entire Catholic community to contribute generously to this financial need. A Chesterton Academy can do more with less. Our projected budget this year is only $390,000. We're planning another series of firsts. Our first graduating class, our first time teaching the year of culmination, a new class of freshmen, 6 different math classes across 4 grades, and our first drama group that was larger than a basketball team. Yet, all of this would just be going with the flow, and any dead thing can do that. Our dream budget is $500,000, which would accelerate our ability to better serve our families and community in our second year. We'd like to team with you for more profound growth that helps us transmit the culture through greater availability and even higher quality education. Our profound growth of priorities are, first, to meet each family's demonstrated financial need. Despite tuition well below the local private schools, we also work hard to be affordable by providing financial aid. However, we are not yet able to meet each family's demonstrated need. Raising an additional $56,000 allows us to meet the demonstrated need across all 20 families and 24 students, increasing our availability to every family that's interested in it. Second, we need to train and mentor our staff in classical education and the culture. Chesterton Academy provides a unique curriculum and school culture that is key to our success. Raising just $18,000 allows Chesterton Academy of St. Joseph to send every faculty and staff member to hands-on training and monthly mentoring offered by Chesterton Schools Network, accelerating their ability to fruitfully transmit the message and mission of our school to the students. Third, we need to retain and hire the highest quality faculty and staff. To succeed in our mission and vision for educating and forming children in our community, we must retain our excellent faculty and staff and fill new positions with the highest quality candidates. An additional $145,000 enables Chesterton Academy to modestly increase faculty and staff while also increasing salaries to keep up with the unusual recent inflation. The new faculty allows us to account for student growth and diverse educational needs. A director of recruiting improves our outreach to families in the community, increasing the availability of this faith-filled education and formation. One administrative staff member takes the current administrative tasks off our headmaster and faculty, allowing them to focus on the intellectual, spiritual, and character formation of the students, enhancing school life programs, and accelerating pursuit of archdiocesan recognition through accreditation. A note about accreditation. As you may have noticed, we are a joyful, classical high school rooted in the Catholic faith, but not yet recognized as a Catholic school. Before we can advertise and meet with the families in our parishes and grade schools, we need to be recognized by Archbishop Schnurr as a Catholic school. And he has some requirements, right? He's not just going to give that to anybody, and we don't want him to. The resources outlined also accelerate our accreditation through the Ohio Catholic Conference and ultimately support our recognition by the Archbishop as a Catholic school. An accreditation, by the way, that will be carefully navigated to not interfere with our classical approach to education. In March of 2006, in his message to the 21st World Youth Day, Pope Benedict wrote, "There is an urgent need for the emergence of a new generation of apostles anchored firmly in the word of Christ." Chesterton Academy of St. Joseph is responding to this call by helping parents in their mission to raise a generation of saints and leaders, equipping children to respond to Christ's call to life, to be in the world but not of the world. It's an exciting and fruitful response. A school that has this kind of culture and community and offers this kind of education is a sure way the faith can be preserved and transmitted here in the greater Dayton area. When I think of 15 to 20 students graduating each year as joyful and mature young adults, prepared to encounter the world as leaders, equipped to respond to their vocations, becoming priests and religious, getting married, rearing their children faithfully, our grandchildren, then I realize that this adventure we are on today will have effects rippling into eternity. We are not alone in this adventure, and we want to invite each of you to join us in this mission. And now I'd like to invite Jim Dempsey, a friend of Chesterton Academy, to come up and share how you can partner with us to make this vision a reality.